Put your head on my...
All the time.
That is awesome. On this Coffee First podcast, we have a special guest. We have a healer on here. We have a community leader. We have Cheryl Harris on here that I was so blessed to meet at my job, that it was cool because the conversation was authentic and the knowledge I got from it was helpful, and I just love it. So let's give a hand for a special guest, Cheryl Harris.
Thank you. And the feeling is mutual. I instantly felt like we connected and we learned so much.
It was awesome. It was like the right place at the right time type of moment. You know what I mean? It was cool.
Right.
So,
and if I can divulge just a little bit of our meeting, our interaction, it was a bit ironic because I did not want to walk through the magnetometer that can get radiated, and that is actually very important to me in the work that I do, and eliminating or reducing exposure to toxins and external and internal. So you were very kind. You wanted me. I didn't have to go through it. And
it happens a lot, honestly.
That's good.
It does happen a lot because at the old spot that I used to work with, I was doing security. It was a lot. It was like there was a lot of people who didn't trust the radiation that came from the metal detector and everything. So I definitely, understood it. So I was like, I'm not going to make somebody do,
And I really appreciated that because you'll get the eye rolls or
the
inconvenience, and you picked right up on it. You were so kind and generous, and we got it done, and I got through, and I really appreciated it. And I'm so glad that people, your listeners, and people are aware that we're exposed to toxins everywhere, and the ones we can mitigate and eliminate, why not? It took us 2 seconds.
Of course. I mean, and then that's all it is. I mean, some people just don't like the extra work. Which, when you're doing the job that I'm doing, you're really not doing too much work.
Oh, you look
really. You ain't really doing too much work. It's more personal work that I do than actually working at the job. So.
Yeah.
But before I get started, let me get you to look at this camera right here. Shout out your name and where we can find you.
Okay. My name is Cheryl Harris, and my email, I guess, would be the best. It's my name, cheryl.harris@yahoo.com.
Heck yeah. And what do you do?
So what I do, I'm an acupuncturist.
Okay.
I'm a 5-element acupuncturist. I've been doing that for 20 years. And it has afforded me the luxury of doing that. I have a private practice, but I also, as I've gotten older, it's been very important to me to volunteer and give back to my community. And like I said, just try to make this earth a better place, a safer place. It's become kind of scary. So I do a lot of volunteer work. Sometimes I need to balance the scales. I have a tendency to do more volunteer work than actual work. And unfortunately, that doesn't pay the bills. So I am a volunteer chapter leader for an organization called the Weston A. Price Foundation.
Okay.
We focus on food, farming, and the healing arts. I've been with them since 2008 and was honored to be a chapter leader since 2019. And I recently started becoming part of the leadership forum of MAHA, which is Make America Healthy Again. We have a Colorado chapter. And so
you said Maha?
Maha, yes, not to be mistaken for anything else.
No,
we are
that's
not
cool.
political.
That's cool.
Maha, Make America Healthy Again. And Australia has picked up on it. The UK has picked up on it. They have Make Australia Healthy Again now. Make the UK healthy. It's really coming alive, and it's really, for the first time in my that I can remember, I feel very optimistic about the future, and that we're not just going to all perish from chronic disease.
Yeah, that's true.
It's frightening. How many people do you know that have cancer? And it seems like every time we turn around, they're all idiopathic, which means we don't know why. And I'm just so tired of hearing you have this disease, but we don't know what caused it. We need to find answers. And I think we know what's causing these things, but we just need to call out big companies.
What's
and
really
just be very
going
transparent about it. Yeah.
I mean, I got a lot of knowledge when my younger brother, he started researching and doing. He's a herbalist, so he started putting me on game on natural herbs and what I shouldn't be eating and like what I could be eating instead, and like substituting the things that I do eat for this and that. So it's very interesting. I'm not gonna lie about. I find it very interesting on how America's food and pharmacy companies really work.
It is. It's eye-opening.
Yeah, it very much was.
My motto is nature first, pharmaceuticals last. I'm not against, there's a time and a place. Pharmaceuticals can be wonderful and life-saving, but you don't necessarily need to go to them first. Food, as they say, food is thy medicine, and that's what we teach in both nonprofits that I'm associated with and my private practice.
Okay.
I don't know if you saw, but Mike Tyson is on board now. He did a Super Bowl commercial for Maha, and it was very personal. He shared a story. Apparently his sister died when she was 25 of an obesity-related complication. Died at 25, and he talks about how he was morbidly obese and was so depressed that he would sit and eat ice cream all day and crap and stuff. And as a result, he was angry. He was, we see how everything comes into play. Obviously, he turned that into a positive. Okay. But he, at a young age, had, I think, a mentor that taught him how to eat, and he said he ate salads and he ate animal foods, and it turned it around. He
That's
went
how
to
he
the
got
gym.
so big.
Yeah.
That's why he got so top heavy.
I guess.
He took all that fat and just turned it into muscle real quick.
Like an hourglass, he just turned it upside down.
That was awesome. That's awesome. That's cool. So what made you get started on this journey?
Oh, that's a good question. It's very related. I struggled when I was young with anxiety, severe anxiety and eating disorder. And I was on every single pharmaceutical you can imagine. Things, SSRIs, if you're familiar with them, SSNIs, norepinephrine. And as a result, I was like numb. I went through life numb, like I was in a coma. I got in 7 car accidents. I knew there was something else, and I discovered acupuncture. Okay. And I had one treatment, and for the first time in my life, I understood what it felt like to be calm and relaxed, and that was the turning point for me. And I was an acupuncturist for years, and then I found the foundation, the Weston A. Price Foundation, and realized that obviously with an eating disorder, I needed to learn how to eat. I was literally like a child, like I had to retrain. I had no idea how to eat. And so...
Was it just like eating the wrong things? Or just eating like...
I went from the full gamut. I have all the eating disorders. I was anorexic, I was bulimic, I was a compulsive overeater, I was a compulsive undereater. So I would just get what was quick and cheap. I wasn't thinking of nourishing my body in any frame. I just, I would eat ramen or ice cream or things that, could consume.
Yeah.
So
I
need to
fill you up. You just
And the messages are so confusing. You hear that vegetarianism is the way to go, and that did not sustain me. I think the major reason why I went down this path was in the 80s when I grew up. I'm a native of Colorado, but I grew up in the 70s and 80s. Thank you.
One
of the
few. Same here.
Yeah, I know that. Yes, we had that in common. We went to the same high school.
I know, it's just cool.
Anyway, but in the 80s, everything was fat free. And I remember literally as a teenager craving sticks of butter. And that was insane. Who does that? But later I learned I needed it. My poor body was telling me, please give me fat. And all this fat-free stuff was laden with sugars and artificial whatever. And I was never satisfied. I would eat, and I was never satisfied. And with this foundation, I literally, when I started, would eat scoops of coconut oil and beef fat and lard. I would eat scoops of it. And I knew it was nourishing my body at this point in time. And eggs and cream and raw milk and all these wonderful fatty things. They say you should have butter at least tooth marked. It should be that big of pat of butter that your tooth should imprint on it. So I was making bread and putting big slabs of butter on it, and like who wouldn't be happier with that? It totally turned me around.
Okay. That was some good toasting, huh?
Yeah, it was excellent.
Oh, yeah.
Much better than the fat-free junk.
Yeah, I bet so. Oh, that's cool though. All right. So how long did it take to where it started like helping like?
That's a good question. I've been on this path for decades now.
Yeah.
I'm in my mid-50s. But, I started out one by one. I couldn't dive into the whole thing, so I remember I started making this drink called kefir. And then I started making sourdough bread. And then I found a farm that sold raw milk, and I got that. And one by one now, we met. I was caring for my uncle at your other job, and I just brought him today food is medicine. Pharmaceuticals are kind of making him ill right now, so I made him bone broth. We're gonna wrap. He has a bit of an infection. We're gonna wrap it in clay.
Okay.
And what else? We're doing a lot of stuff. He's drinking kombucha, if you're familiar with that. I am convinced that these things are going to turn him around, because I've seen it so many times in my office. When you're sick, sip the juice from sauerkraut, and all of a sudden you're not sick. Did you know that sauerkraut contains 300 times more vitamin C than an orange? The cultured, fermented vegetables. So that can be potent medicine.
See, I found out like a lot of medicine is used to heal the illness that we get, but then they make a lot of medicine like in U.S. pharmaceutical companies. They make a lot of medicine just to, I guess, contain or just keep it at ease, keep whatever illness is at ease. But there's a lot of medicine out that is actually meant to heal, which is a lot more pricier and not as much in the United States.
You're exactly right. And what I tell patients in the Chinese medicine theories and study, one of the problems with conventional medicine, the pharmaceuticals, is we suppress.
Yeah.
So we push things down. When we shut buttons off, push things down, and that is not healing. As you alluded to, it's basically just kicking the can down the road. A perfect example is my uncle here. He appears to be getting better, but then all these other issues are rising. And for true healing, I think you can do both. Obviously, it's a gift if you're in pain to have immediate relief from pain.
That's true.
And sometimes when you have a wicked bacterial infection, such as my uncle, you need intravenous antibiotics, you can't mess around. My herbs are not strong enough. Yeah. But like you said, the antibiotics, for instance, with him, they've put him on a ton of antibiotics, which are destroying his gut. So knowing that, that's going to be our job, in the next couple months to repair the damage that was done from the medicine.
Like a whole different other trail.
Right. It's a cascade. Yeah.
But it's good that he has someone like you who knows what they're doing with the healing process, though.
Well, thank you.
Because
and I think
a lot of people don't have that. So that is cool.
Hopefully, if my nonprofits, if we get our message out, everyone will have access to the knowledge. That's what we really want.
That is cool. Because it helped me with the way that I did it a little bit, going through like the whole epilepsy, just taking out certain things, certain teas that I drink and stuff. Like my brother, he put me on game too.
I didn't know your brother's an herbalist. Like, which teas are you drinking now?
So I do a lot of stuff with lavender, some peppermint, spearmint, lion's mane. I'll use that a lot.
Oh, the mushrooms. That's amazing.
Yeah, I like those. Like, I'll put like the powder, I'll put it in like a smoothie sometimes, or like, a morning drink, mix it around, and then just.
And do you feel like you're healing, or what? How do you feel like you? I'm not the
With
interviewer here.
No, you're good.
That was what drew me, obviously, to our conversation. I told you my healing journey, and you shared with me yours.
Yeah. With those, it's just like, as much as it's like, what is it? What's the word I'm looking for? The placebo effect. As much as I feel like it's healing, I feel like it's me doing it, and the action of me doing it, and actions of me like continuing with physical health and like the mental health part, and like doing it consistently. I think that is healing me more than the actual herbs in a way. but it's still helping the process.
I think you're right. I found that even the minute, I think that's why my uncle felt better the minute he walked into the ER, because he knew, it kind of controls the nervous system a bit. Like, someone's going to help me.
Yeah.
And that alone will lower your heart rate, will relieve your anxiety, and make you feel better.
Yeah.
And I think, I laugh at, people who kind of dismiss the placebo effect. I think sometimes that's the strongest.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you think you're getting better, the mind will direct that very path of healing. The mind, how many times have we seen, if someone thinks they're going to have a cruddy day, they're going to have a cruddy day.
Yep.
And you kind of talked about that.
And that's so interesting to me, like, because like you said, you can control your day with your mindset. 100 things, like, same things can happen to somebody that happens this person one, that person two has, and person one can think about it as positive, person two can think about it as negative, and even though they had the same events happen, they both had like a cruddy day or a good day.
Yeah, and I mean, that's not to dismiss. So that, people are ill. People do have chronic disease, and I don't think they've created that necessarily. But I do think that the mindset has some piece of it that has something to do with it.
Yes, which is cool. So with starting your companies, because you do have multiple, so did people, while starting them, did you find it easier to have people gravitate to what you're doing and the movement that you are creating, or were people hesitant at first?
It was so hard at the beginning.
Yeah.
I was an acupuncturist. I went into practice in 2003, and no one knew what acupuncture was.
Ooh,
honestly, yeah. No one knew about it. No one knew what it was. No one wanted to come near it. No one wants needles. And compared to how it is now, like, everyone has an acupuncturist, and we're primary care in California, and we can get our doctorate in most states now. And so that in that piece, that's been a huge shift in realization. I think one of the biggest turning points for us was when I believe it was the American Medical Association claimed that people could no longer have back surgery until they first tried acupuncture, because they realized the efficacy that acupuncture is so superior in relieving and actually curing back pain. So to have that protocol where a surgeon cannot cut on you unless you've had acupuncture first, I think.
That happened in 2003? Acupuncture started getting...
No, that shift was very recently, I think maybe 2019 or...
For real?
Yeah, that took a while.
Wow.
And as far as the Weston Price Foundation and MAHA, same kind of thing. Everyone thought we were tinfoil hat wearing, crazy, farming, homesteading, which we are, all of those things. But
I mean, sometimes the people that are crazy, and I'm speaking from experience, sometimes people that are crazy make the biggest change. All right.
That is exactly the truth. And what do they say? They say the ones that everyone goes after that calls a crazy person, you should probably listen to them. That they're obviously onto something, honestly, because if they're just talking, fluff and don't have anything, then people are going to ignore them. Mm-hmm. If you're outraged and you're going to make a fuss about what they're saying, obviously they're hitting a nerve, and obviously they have something to say that of truth.
So that's very interesting. So it was hard to actually get people to warm up to acupuncture.
Yeah, it was really difficult to get patients. At first, it was mainly my family members. And actually, I was blessed because through circumstance, we have to take our national boards, and someone had compromised and gotten the answers to our tests. So it was canceled 2 weeks prior to me taking this test. And, I studied for a year, and it was devastating. So they made compensation and said that we could actually start working, but we had to be under the supervision of a teacher or a licensed practitioner, and that we couldn't charge. So at first I thought, this is terrible, but what I did is I went under practice with my teacher, and on donation based, I asked people to cover the cost of my needles and my herbs. And it gave me a wonderful opportunity to just introduce acupuncture to people that might not have walked through the door. You know, they were like, sure, you know, there's something about, sure, if it's free, you know, I'll try it, even if it's something harmful. True. You know, I think with the COVID shot, it's like, oh, it's free. You know, it's scary, but, you know, I think that is our mindset. So people like, sure, why not? And they're blown away, like, wow. And 100% of my advertising from day one has been word of mouth. I have done no advertising, no marketing. I don't have a website, and I've been in practice over 20 years. So
I got to do a hand for that. That is awesome. Thank you. Because word of mouth is the best way to do it. And you're proving that right now.
Well, like you and I, you know, and Chinese medicine is an oral tradition. You know, there are textbooks about it, and you can do write up. But you truly, to experience all those good things, you have to experience. You have to try it, and you have to feel the anxiety lift, or realize that, oh, I had this treatment, I had the best night of sleep of my life, you know, for the first time.
Yeah.
And it's more subtle than conventional medicine. What we've got going for us with conventional medicine is if I have a pain and I take a drug, pain is gone instantly. With Chinese medicine, someone might come in to me and say they have, you know, fibromyalgia, like pain all over their body. And the first treatment, they might not feel a shift in that, but they sleep better. And then the second treatment, they may not feel a shift in the fibromyalgia, but they feel their anxiety lower. And what we educate people to is what you're doing is walking out of the pattern of illness that you walked into. It's not just an on-off switch.
Yeah,
you know, how we get into things is how we get out of it in all respects, not just health.
You know what I thought about that? What I thought about when you just said that?
What?
The turtle and the rabbit and the turtle. Like, the pharmaceutical medicine is like the rabbit. It'll get you that instant relief where it's like, all right, and then it comes back. And then it gets you that instant relief where it's like, all right, and then it comes back. But it actually never really wins, you know? And the turtle, where the Chinese medicine will slowly get you there, but it ultimately wins because it completes.
That's exactly. I love that. I'm going to use that if I may.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
That is exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's cool. That's awesome. Yeah, that's cool. I like how you do that.
Oh, thank you. I enjoyed your company as well. That's why we connected.
So, was it easier to get people to follow along with the food portion of it than the acupuncture?
You know, in different ways, that was difficult too. A lot of the healing foods are bacteria.
Yeah.
You know, we talk about the fermented foods, raw foods, and again, we've slowly shifted, but back in 2008, when I started, people were still fearing bacteria, all kinds of bacteria. There wasn't a distinction between good bacteria and bad bacteria, and people were paranoid that if you ate if you drank kombucha or if you drank raw milk, that you were going to get a bacterial infection and it was going to kill you. I mean, that's what some people who are uneducated about it, that's what they claim. And the irony is the number one food that causes bacterial issues, which are sometimes fatal, is lettuce and listeria. You know, remember the cantaloupes in Colorado, and it's the vegetables that mainly cause issue. Yet raw milk has been, feared for the longest time.
I can see how the vegetables. You see how big a lime is now? I know. A lime is big as an orange.
Don't get me started with that. Apeel. Have you heard about apeel? APEEL is now a new coating that they put on avocados, apples, so that they look prettier longer. But God knows what we're eating that, you know, unless you're peeling your apple, you're not eating it on the avocado, but you're eating the skin, and, you know, in 10 years we'll say, oh, you have this illness, and we don't know. It's idiopathic. We don't know what caused it. We know what caused it.
Oh my gosh, that's terrible. Terrible.
The raw milk claim that we make to turn people to our side is we say, if you are fearing raw milk, like, would you fear that a mother breastfed her child? Because it's the same. Breast milk, raw milk, it's from a cow or a mother. It's all the same, and it's really ridiculous to fear it.
That's so crazy. It makes me scared about what we'll be eating in about 5 years.
Well, they call them these Frankenfoods, and they're all lab derived. That unfortunately is a trend, and
You
look
said
out for it because
Frankenfoods.
no, they trick
That's
us because they call it
crazy.
a plant-based diet or
Yeah.
eat the insects, but it's just not the right. The Weston Price Foundation talks about traditional ancient foods. Basically, eat like your grandma ate. My grandma, she just passed away a couple years ago, but she was 96, and I used to take her to the grocery store, and she didn't understand the organic section. Because when she was growing up, everything was organic. There was no such thing as, so she looked at me, she goes, so you're telling me that this side of the carrots are poisonous and this side of the carrots are good for me, and they're selling both.
Yeah.
And if you get the cheaper one, you're in big trouble. And I'm like, poison maybe is a hard word, but they're definitely laden with chemicals, and it's kind of like a bucket. Like if you ate a few of them, it probably wouldn't harm you, but if you ate that and then I walked through the radiation thing and eventually your bucket overflows, and voila, you've had a chronic illness.
It's all the little. It's like a little bit. They just doing drips.
Yeah, and chronic means it's gone on for a long time.
Yeah.
And that's what we're struggling with as a country right now.
That's awesome. All right, so one more time, let me get you to look at this camera. Shout out who you are and your businesses.
Cheryl Harris, and I'm an acupuncturist at Therapeutic Acupuncture, LLC. As I mentioned, I have no website, no advertising on that, so you can just email me. I'm also the chapter leader for the Weston A. Price Foundation, westonaprice.org. Look for the Denver chapter. And we'll connect with our Colorado Maha group. We'd love to have you. We do Zooms every other Tuesday with focused on health, and it's a wonderful way to get educated and know how to optimize your health.
Yeah.
Put your head on my.
All right, so the one question that I ask every creator I put on this podcast is, what's your morning routine? So as a creator, what's your morning routine?
I knew you were going to ask me this. I'm one of those crazy people, like what I get done by 9 a.m. is what most people probably takes them a day. So you want the long version or the short version?
Whatever version you feel comfortable sharing.
I start my day with a glass of structured water, which means water that has bubbles.
Okay.
And I could talk more and more about that, but that's good for health. A glass of kefir.
Okay.
And I modified this. Back in the day, I used to jump right out of bed and start guzzling coffee. And that was not good for my well-being.
I feel that.
So I do that, and then I'm spiritual. I'm very spiritual, so I try to read a inspirational piece of literature or watch a podcast. I'm in a 12-step program, so something related to that, or health or wellness. And then all my animals wake up, so I've got to feed. I have 5 chickens that I go into the coop and feed, and I have recently we've adopted a kitty and my dog, and all my animals eat raw.
That's
so
awesome.
It's not so easy. I have to prepare all this raw meat and chicken bones and tripe, and so my morning consists of all that, and then I start my day. I go to work a little later in the afternoon and walk my dog.
That is awesome. So you got chickens?
Yeah, I'm telling you, you become a homesteader when you join this Weston Price Foundation. I realized how healthy eggs were for me and my family. So yeah, we got chickens during COVID. We got some of the COVID chickens.
That's still cool. I want to get chickens.
Everyone has chickens now. We could definitely show you how to do it.
Yeah, that's one of the things on my goals, like get some chickens, so I don't have to like go to the store, and I could just have like everything in house, like milk, get some cows.
Exactly, yeah.
All that stuff.
I walk to the studio here. I live downtown here. I have backyard birds. Anyone can do it.
That's cool.
I call them backyard birds.
Backyard birds?
Yeah, they're literally my backyard. Everyone, I think there's a misconception that you need a big farm or acreage to have chickens. And I've got a teeny house in Whittier, and I have chickens.
Huh. I mean, yeah, I could understand that. Somebody down the street from where I live, they have a goat and they have chickens, and I'm like, huh.
In the city?
No, they're more on the south of Denver.
Oh, neat.
But their home in their backyard, they have it like fenced, but you can see like through the fence.
Oh,
so
how
you can see
fun.
like the mini farm that they have, which is pretty cool.
You should connect with them and get eggs and goat's milk and
I should.
goats. You could make goat's cheese, all kinds of
I
stuff.
should. That'll actually be beneficial for both.
My neighbors and I, we formed an egg lovers group. We call it the Neighborhood Egg Lovers Group, and we get 33 dozen eggs once a month from a local farmer. It's fantastic.
And do y'all like distribute them or?
I'm the distributor, so I have a big basket on my front porch that we drop the empty cartons, and then they pick it up from my porch. It's a great way to bond. Like, I've met neighbors through this, and everyone loves eggs, and it's great. We're supporting our farmers, which is so important. With this frankenfood craze, we've got to support local farmers. They've got to thrive.
That's cool. So, has your companies help you build your community and like the family around it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've met so many wonderful people, and we all, a lot of us come into this sick. And then think about, like you and I, like if you share your story and say, hey, I was sick like you, but look at me now. I'm not sick anymore. There is hope. And I ate sauerkraut, or things that I had never heard of any of this stuff. I think I shared with you with my uncle, we're packing his wound with clay. Clay? Like, I had no idea.
Which is interesting still.
And the herbs, I'll report back at how I think he's going to do well. But, and kombucha, I didn't know what that was, or a kefir, I didn't know these weird names. We're all getting together and doing food demos and seed swaps, and it's a big, it's all connected to gardening and all kinds of
like all sharing information, just getting in, just like.
And when you have healthy people that walk around on the soil and get sunshine, first morning sunshine, they're happier, they've got more energy, and to have a conversation and have a block party with people like that, it's infectious, rather than someone who's, ill and depressed. That's really hard to get any, to generate conversations and get exciting ideas and inspiration from that.
Yeah, that's true.
And we've all been there. I've certainly been there.
That's true. I've been there too. So I can't even lie.
Yeah.
But that's cool. So has it helped, like, I guess, the in-house family as well? Like your personal family, your relatives and stuff like that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's so cute. My mom, my Grammy, who I referred to as my biggest fan, she had a stack of my business cards, and she would hand them out to everyone at Natcha. Like, oh, awesome. You need to see my granddaughter. And she would be a walking billboard. She'd say, see how healthy I am, which she was. She was exceptionally healthy. She's like, you too can have this health and wellness. You just need to see my grand. And now my mom has passed the baton. My mom is my biggest fan, and my brother and my nieces who wanted to come today, they're all on board, and they eat a lot of organic foods, and they love we made some kefir soda the other day that they love, and they love my sourdough bread. So, yeah, and my uncle is listening to me. He's actually doing and taking what I recommend. So
that's so cool.
It's so rewarding. That, it's hard when you are so excited about something and it's not infectious. Everyone else is like, yeah, no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Like, you kind of go flat. Like, well, I'm not going to be excited because no one else is sharing this with me.
Yeah, but it's cool how they all gravitated towards it. And it was like, okay, let me try it out. Felt the difference, and then they're like learning and actually going down that road with you, and like that's cool.
Absolutely. Cool. And that's a lot of the 12-step program. One of our slogans is find someone who has what you want. And I think that's so important in mentorship and in educating ourselves. Find someone who has something you want. And it could be a haircut, like who do you go to get your hair? But it could be something on a much deeper level. Like you have wellness. You have a really strong spiritual foundation. You have a shine to your hair and your face. I want that. And that's really important.
I totally get that. That's actually, yeah. Because I've never like heard that put in words, but I feel like I like do that unintentionally, because like you said, like somebody has nice hair, I'll go up, hang out with them to see how they got nice hair, and be like, hey, all right, cool. Somebody has like doing good with their business, I'll go hang out with them and be like, hey, how's you? All right, cool.
I think that's the path to happiness and joy, because you can go down the opposite path and hang out with people who are undesirable or who bring you down.
And then keep going down.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Soon you're at their level. And you're like,
right,
how did I get here?
And you're like, yo, what the heck just happened?
Yeah.
That's dope. That's cool.
I did that the other day with the Girl Scout cookies. I'm like, why did I do this? that was a mistake.
That's cool. So, what's the biggest thing that you're proud of accomplishing throughout, creating your companies?
Oh, wow. Every day I see magic.
Yeah.
Every day I put needles in people, and I'm very lucky because the way I practice, I cultivate wellness.
Mm-hmm.
So I very rarely treat people on a physical level. Most often, every time a patient is ready to get a treatment, I ask them, what's your wish today? And the majority of them say, keep me on pace, keep me well, more of the same. And that's incredibly rewarding. I feel sorry for my colleagues in, again, in conventional, that my uncle was in the ER for 4 times now. And they kept seeing him come back. Like, that's got to be so discouraging because they've got their heart in it as much as I have my heart in my medicine.
Like
I could tell the nurses in they're amazing.
Yeah.
And they wanted him to be so much, to never see us again.
Yeah.
And to actually play a part in someone's wellness and health. And it's, I do want to see them again because, as we all know, if you don't keep on your exercise or keep doing yoga or whatever, that you're going to
it'll
suffer.
come back and be worse when
Yeah.
it comes back. Yeah. That's so cool, though. That's interesting.
Oh, I feel very blessed. I've led a very unconventional life.
So you're like a real life healer.
I'm
you're a real
honored.
life healer. That's dope.
I don't know if I'd say, I always say I'm a conduit, so I'm kind of like an empty vessel, and I just center myself and treat with my heart. And through that, I actually feel whatever, your belief system, a higher power, a spiritual guide tell me exactly. After all this time, it's kind of second nature. What points to do, what my patient, and if you slow down in your life and you just look at people, you can tell. I could tell you were very good at that. You can tell by the way they walk in, or the way their eyes are glowing, or if they're there's no light shining it. Like, you can kind of get an idea of what's wrong with the person.
Yeah.
Maybe you can't do a formal diagnosis that way, but
you can get the general. Okay, this person's not feeling well.
Right.
Let's help you here. Let's do
right.
this.
In Chinese medicine, we call it your shen, your spirit, your vital force, things like that. Like, you can certainly tell when someone when their light is out, their pilot light is out.
Yeah, and I did a lot of studying, I guess, psychology, and I like that part of it, just to be able to read people and to read. What was it again? Zen? Their
Shen,
their
spirit,
shen.
yes.
Their shen.
Shen, S-H-E-N.
S-H-E-N. Look it up.
Shen, yes.
But to be able to read that and like their how they feel, their facial expressions, has been a great. I like that I did that.
And
cool.
you know what else I've noticed? Just actually, how many times you walk by someone, hey, how are you? And by the time you've answered, they've walked, like, they really don't care. they just said it, to say it. And then, but if you actually stop and say, how are you? How are you? Or, I've learned, you're probably the same. I have the most success with my patients when I just shut up and let them talk and realize that I'm not going to fix them. I'm not going to heal them, that they're going to figure it out on their own.
Like, some people just want to talk sometimes.
All I ask is, what else? If there's a pause or something, what else? And you'd be amazed at what comes out.
So you've had some times where patients you'll just sit there and listen, and they'll figure out their problems by themselves.
Always.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Think about it. Who's is more knowledgeable about you? A doctor? me, an acupuncturist, the most knowledgeable person about you is you.
That
Whether
is
it's
true.
subconscious or conscious, you know exactly what's going on. And,
That's true.
you know, whether you call it like, oh, I had a bad vibe that I shouldn't have done that, or, you know, I'm just feeling like that's not the right thing. That's all messages. Those are all messages being sent to you by your subconscious and your conscious being. Knowing, you know, the way you phrase things, you can probably figure out what's going on with any person by letting them figure out, you know, kind of just asking them the right things.
Yeah.
Like, you say you're fine, but are you really fine?
Yeah.
You know, and then, whoa, that unleashes a whole
Ask, are you okay about 3 times? And then they'll be like, no, this is what really is wrong with me.
Exactly.
You know? Are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. Are you okay? Yes, I'm fine. Are you okay? No. I had to do that to my sister a couple of times.
That's a gift that you and I have learned, you know. Just shut up and let the person on the other end know you are genuinely interested. Because I've talked to a lot of people day in and day out, not in my world really, but you know, out there on the fringe. But you know, you can tell they're not really interested. You know, they'll ask the question, "How are you? What's new?" But you can tell they're not engaged and they're too busy. Whatever it is, they're looking at their cell phone. I'm not going to open up to that person.
Yeah. That's one reason why I kind of like the security, because like, as much as like I get to like still ask and be there, and like, because I consider myself sort of a healer too, but not a full on, you know what I mean? Like, I just like to heal, you know, like to be there to give that, you know, positive energy or a boost. So at the hospital, I'll find like a lot of people, like if I sit there checking them in, they'll talk to me about their problem. I may not have no idea how to fix it, but them just talking to me seems to help. And they'll be like, thank you. And I'll be like, I didn't really do anything, but you're welcome.
You do more than you think. I witnessed it firsthand. You know, I was there last Thursday, and obviously I was very upset. You know, it's the ER. People are coming into it. They are freaking out.
You're going to come there upset.
Yeah.
I mean,
you don't underestimate the power you have at that position where you're sitting. You know, you instantly to see a familiar face and a calming face, and you kind of guided me over, and I saw you do it with other people, and, you know, to not, you know, you have a very calming voice, and you're very good at just, you know, okay, here's the next thing. You know, here's where you do. No one knows. ER, it's like, you know, it's crazy town. No one knows what to do. No one knows what's going on. You know, you've got
everybody's like, I need to get seen now.
Exactly. Everything's an emergency, rightfully so. My emergency should be top priority, and, you know, but you are the perfect person for that position, because, you know, you were very efficient, yet you had enough time for us to have a genuine conversation. Like, that's not easy. You know, a lot of people are dismissive and constantly have their face down in a screen.
You see what I do there all day? I get tired of so much screen time I get on this phone. There's only so many Sudoku games I could play.
You know what, though? I'm glad to hear that, because when I was there, they were bragging about how they had 89 patients that day, and I was horrified. I'm like, that is 89 people that have come through one ER.
Yeah.
And it was crazy and busy, and this was Thursday at 2:00. Can you imagine a Saturday night? And when we're talking big picture thinking, like, gee, I wonder why we have a healthcare crisis. I wonder why healthcare is not affordable. It's way out of hand.
Bad.
Way out of hand.
And it's only getting worse.
That's why we need to educate people. I took a trip to Nepal in 2023 to do acupuncture with a nonprofit, and the shamans there were, and the townspeople, they were amazed. They would ask, they don't understand the concept of ER or urgent care, because they have their remedies and their medicine. Grandma has it, you know, mom has it. So first line of defense is your mama takes care of you or your grandma takes care of you. And they were asking me, they said, you know, what do you mean that people rush to urgent care or rush to ER? Like, is that after they've exhausted all the resources at home? And I'm like, no, believe it or not, people don't feel like they have resources at home. They feel helpless, like, you know, other than the pills in their medicine cabinet.
Yeah.
That's our job, you know. Let's teach them, listen, you need to know how to make sauerkraut. Easy stuff. It's not overwhelming.
Yeah.
You need to have homeopathic remedies. You need to have your herbs.
Yeah. I told a friend while I was traveling out to Utah, we were like eating a lot, and we went to a buffet. So they had little ginger slices. So I ate a whole bunch before like I ate. And he was like, "Why are you eating that?" And I was like, "It just helps before you eat a whole bunch of food, you know what I
You're
mean?"
so right.
And then I started eating it after. He was like, "Didn't you just do that?" I was like, "It's just gonna help later on." And then later on that night, he was like, "Oh, my stomach hurt." I was like, "See, should have had the ginger."
So easy, and you're exactly right. Chinese medicine, one of our herbs is ginger. It's a digestive aid. It helps with nausea.
I was like, "You
brilliant.
should have ate some ginger before you ate all that food. It's a buffet."
You're like, I'm going to sleep now. So
that part, like, that's awesome. I feel like you're a great person to answer this. Okay, this is another main question I have. But what's your new effort every day?
New effort.
Every day. That's a part of the business that I do. New effort every day, an acronym for need. So it's just, I like to ask people, what's your new effort every day?
So explain that to me. Like, what do I want to do differently?
No, so new effort every day is basically saying, what step do you take to achieve the goal that you are wanting to achieve?
Oh, okay.
But one step that you take every day. So it could be as small as, let's say, like somebody's doing bodybuilding exercises and they're doing like 10 push-ups on one day, but then they go to the gym on the next day, but then the next day they do like 5 push-ups. It's still like taking them little steps, but that's their new effort every day. They just try to do something every day.
Oh, I love that. I dedicate it to a meditative practice every day, and it can be as simple as, and I've shared this with my patients because it can be overwhelming. People like, I don't sit still. I can't do that. For my mind wanders. There's no wrong way to meditate. Mm-hmm. So my simple meditative practice is when I'm in bed, horizontal, before my feet touch the ground, I just connect to my body and breath. And to me, job done. That can be my meditation for the day. Sometimes I extend it and do a half an hour, or a lot of times my dog and I do a walking meditation. So we will go, it's very important to get exposure to the first sunrise, first sun, and we will just go walking. And for me, walking is very meditative. So to do that, you've got to leave your cell phone at home. You've got to be mindful. You've got to pay attention. And my dog is so cute, little Milton. He realizes, he gets angry with me when I carry the phone with me when I'm on walks, because he knows my focus is not on the walk and with him, and he's a little tiny thing, but he gets very irritated.
That's so awesome. Yeah. That's so awesome. I have a dog, her name's Roxy. She'll do that too. If I'm like on my phone like this, she'll put her paw on my phone and just be like,
you know what? They know. That's how we feel as humans. Have you ever gone out to dinner and see like a father and son, and the father's got his face in the phone? It just breaks your heart. You're like, you have this time with your son and you're not even engaging with them.
You'll see the table, just everybody on their phone.
It's depressing.
I'm just like,
yeah.
Nah, y'all gotta get off of that.
Gotta
at least
get away
say
from
something to each other. Like, put your phone face down and engage with each other.
I always say I'm not that important. Like, if someone's trying to text me or call me at dinner, like, they will call someone else. Or if the house is burning down, they will call the firemen. Like, I am not that important that I need to constantly stare at that thing.
I get in trouble a lot because my sister will be like, I texted you like 3 times. I'm hanging out with people. I called you. I'm sorry. My friend was...
We've become a society of instant gratification. Like, if something doesn't... My mom does it. You didn't answer. I'm like, Mom.
I was doing something.
Yeah, I was with the patient. and then I said, well, what was it? Was it important? No.
I had them call me a few times doing this, and I was like, oh, I can't answer that right now. And I'll call them after. They'll be like, oh, you were podcasting, huh? Okay, all right, whatever.
These things are addicting, though. It's really hard to talk about what we're doing. Like, it's really hard for me to leave it at home.
I'll go through a doom scroll real quick and just be scrolling for an hour. I'll be like, oh, wait, I probably should stop.
I don't know about you, but I do it too, and I get a headache. Or, like, my eyes, I start getting, like, double vision, and I'm like, this is telling. This is not going towards wellness.
All right, so before I wrap it all up, I got to get you to shout out your businesses again and where we could find them, where we could connect, tap in, where we could get involved. And if you have any way that, people can like donate or get newsletters, Go ahead. Yeah, let them
Okay.
know. Let them know.
So again, if you want to try acupuncture, you can email me or text me. It's cheryl.harris@yahoo.com. If you want to get or learn more about the Weston A. Price Foundation, it's westonaprice.org. And if you want to become part of our Colorado MAHA group, it is probably best to just email me on that same email, or you can Google nowadays, MAHA Colorado, and get the information to be linked to the Zooms are wonderful. We learned so much, just very health oriented and educational.
Yeah, I have the link that you sent me on my old one. Yeah,
okay, so they can reach out to you to get the link.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And thank you for joining us on this Coffee First podcast. I really do hope you take the knowledge, take it to your own life, use it, go ahead, heal yourself, care for yourself, and put your new effort every day. Coffee first, do whatever you do creatively, and enjoy.
Put your hand